Hello and welcome to LLR LMC's August podcast. Unfortunately, this month Charlotte Woods is on holiday and Freen Danji has had a last-minute IT glitch so that she cannot actually get online at all at the moment. So I'm afraid you're stuck with just me this month. But hopefully we can go through sort of the business of what we've been doing and give you an update. So as usual, this sort of is in conjunction with the newsletter. It doesn't fully replace it, but we just go through the more important bits and hopefully in a more friendly manner. Do give us feedback about the podcast so we can improve it, feedback about the newsletter, what do we miss from it, what else would you like to see, or anything else. Right, so just say that the board met in August on the 12th, and we had quite a few external guests. First, we had sort of Doctors Ginny Lee, Paul Smith, and Kathy Lee on behalf of the UHL pathology. They did apologise for all the problems that there's been, particularly in processing blood tests. They do say that this has improved. They have actually increased the capacity of staff within the department, but they still have problems with getting the actual blood samples to them in a timely way so that they can actually give particularly a potassium result. So one suggestion they've come up with is actually to allow you to, if you wish, to tick to have basically creatinine only, so no potassium. This would allow you to monitor renal function for patients that need it, but without the risk of the sample being rejected because it hadn't been processed in time. With then, of course, an unknown potassium, which means that you've got to then do it again if you don't know what the result is. This wouldn't take away your ability to order the full using these if you want to, but if you were to, then there'll be less likely that there'll be a problem with the sample. So we're not sure when that will come live. Will go live, but do have a think about sort of whether that is going to be useful or not to you. The number of samples that they process has gone up significantly, so they have gone from 4.5 million on average to 5.5 million samples per month. This isn't all just from general practice. This is from across from the board, so from general practice, from outpatients, inpatients. They say it's the same. Everyone seems to be asking for more at the moment. So the other person we had from UHL, unfortunately, Richard Mitchell and Gang Zhu could not come this week. So we had Dr. Lee Walker, who's a deputy medical director and clinical lead for urgent emergency care at UHL, attended on their behalf. He gave an update on what's going on. Quite a lot of positive things, really. They've significantly reduced the ambulance handover time. So it's gone down from an average of an hour to around about half an hour. And also the amount of patients being seen in the same day emergency care services has increased by about 16%. And overall, because of this, the CQC rating has improved. Dr. Walker advised that there had been a 7% higher than expected increase in emergency attendances, and that further that a lot of these were sort of low acuity, so possibly people who could have been dealt with in general practice if general had service capacity. We had a chat about this, and everyone agreed that of course it's not general practice's fault, but we did have a discussion about what the effects of the imposed contracts have had. Now, last year we predicted that the imposed contract would increase attendance at ED, and it definitely did that. This year we predict the same, although many practices haven't really fully embedded that yet. So I did warn Dr. Walker to expect a further increase, and saying that if he's got a problem with it, then he should talk to NHS England and the Department of Health, because it's their fault, and so he should have a go at them. Just moving on. talking about NHS England, that wonderful body. You probably saw that they brought out a what they call a fax about the obesity cough indicators. To me, frequently asked questions should really be truthful, accurate, useful. But this document is far from that. In fact, it's got so many errors and so many misinterpretations to it that, to my mind, it makes it incompetent and unusable. So we have responded to NHS England with our views on their document. I haven't had a response yet. I do actually include our response in the newsletter, so you can see our concerns about each of their facts and why. A couple of them are all right, but the rest of them ain't. And the general tenor isn't right, because the general tenor is that they condone ITBs not contracting, commissioning the service for tirzepatide, which of course they have a legal duty to do, as I've reported in previous newsletters, and at the same time they suggest that general practice should do it as a freebie, which at a time when practices are stretched, and every single report they've had done says that actually what they need to do is put more funding into general practice rather than less. Is obviously just going to make the situation worse, going to have a negative pressure on health outcomes for the nation, and of course have a further push up health inequalities. But do they care about that? Who knows? I don't suppose they lose any sleep over it. So next I was going to touch on advice and guidance and single point of access. We still continue to talk to UHL about this, and we continue to have a meeting of minds about sort of about what is and what isn't appropriate. We have pointed out to them actually that their ability to turn down referrals legally is actually very limited from their contract, and that in terms of the of our contract is that we choose. If we think something is suitable for advice and guidance, then we choose that. If we don't, then we send it as referral. And of course, the Secretary of State and the various other people said that should be the actual position. But as predicted, of course, advice and guidance doesn't come without risk. And a report by HSSIB just recently published reports 30 cases of actual harm or near misses. So we have to remember that forcing the use of advice and guidance is not in patients' best interest. There are times actually when I find it useful. And there's lots of times actually what I want to do is I want to refer to a patient. I've run out of ideas, suggestions, or they've got a condition that I know that needs to be treated by secondary care, and actually that's where they need now to be seen, either for further workup, further consideration about what the underlying diagnosis may be, or actually just to treat a condition that we've already diagnosed. If you have any problems with that, do let the LMC know. We are now heading on to board elections. That's now open. There is a link within the newsletter as to how to actually self-nominate. So we're looking for 6 new board members. I say new because I don't know how many of the current 6 who have come to the end of the term are standing again. I should do, but I don't off the top of my head. But please read through what people are saying, that they what their experience is and what they will deliver as part of the board. And when you get the voting papers, and vote for them. If you're thinking about about standing but not sure, then you can contact myself or Charlotte or Farine or any other board members to talk to them about what it actually involves. And also I suggest that if you've never been to an LMC board meeting before and you're wondering whether to stand or not, then do make sure that you put yourself down to observe at the September board meeting. We always welcome people to come and watch. Okay, and get an idea as to what work the LMC actually does. So that's that. We've been getting lots of questions about the GP practice staff survey. They have changed the contract. They've changed both the PCN DES and the core contract, so that to make a requirement that all staff are offered. Obviously, you can't force them to do the survey, but all staff are offered to complete the GP patient survey. It's probably worth having a word with your staff to say, look, you know, we would like to fill this in. We don't want you to be dishonest, but at the same time, if you're too negative, then this could have consequences on us as an organisation. So if you've got any major problems, sort of come to us, come to the practice management, rather than be a keyboard warrior like we see from patients from time to time, and just do it on the GP staff survey. But I'm afraid that is something that you do. And then Reem Parvez, who's one of our obviously board members and as a lead for medicines, has written us another really good section. This is about, basically, she's talking about use of antipsychotics in certain situations, but really it's more about, you know, give you an idea about the constant pressure we get to try and allow other people to further dump unfunded, under-resourced work onto general practice, and us forever saying no. As I teach all our board members, you know, no is a complete sentence. You don't need to justify it. If you don't want to, you know, just say no. As I think it was Samuel once said, no, just say no. And that's it. My thoughts for the day is just thinking about Hans Christian Andersen tale. So you might be interested in reading that. But at this point, I will say adieu and hopefully catch up again in a month's time. I hope you're all okay, and remember to look after yourselves, and remember to look after each other, and just be kind to your colleagues. Okay, that's great.